My name is Sarah Ritt. I'm an artist and a tarot reader, and this is today's collective reading. Okay, this is kind of a lot that fell out right away, and it's all bunched together. Yeah, okay, so part of what I'm seeing is that we're right in the middle of discovering self-worth, greater sense of self-worth. It feels as if we are going our own way. That's been hard. It's absolutely no picnic. I totally understand from very personal experience. But yeah, it feels as if we're breaking away in some way from what's established. And I'm seeing that, yeah, I'm seeing that kind of, I'm seeing a whole chronology here. So I'm reading it a little bit of a different way these days. I'm just kind of letting the cards fall where they may, and it creates a really interesting pattern. It gives me a little bit more insight. Actually, it's even a little bit more nuanced. I may not always do this, but this just kind of came to me, and it, I like it. So, yeah, so we've got Ten of Swords reversed. This tells me we are moving over hurdles, you know, maybe over, around, and through. Swords are air, and tens are endings, and so this is speaking to endings. It's speaking to the endings of cycles. And because swords are air, they relate to our mind. A lot of the time they speak to our intellect in one way or another. So this is also about the death of old thought patterns. It's also that feeling of parting ways. And I am getting that reinforced with Hierophant reversed. Hierophant is also very much about tradition, what's established, rules, boundaries. What's established? Yeah, convention, in varying forms. You know, sometimes it can be big and broad like society and societal convention. Sometimes it can be very narrow, like a marriage, a specific group where rules are followed. So that can be two people, that can be millions. But here it's reversed, and I do feel like there's some kind of breaking with what's been established, breaking with convention. It is layered. So we also have Ace of Rods. This is fire. This is a beginning. And it's reversed here. Fire is passionate. Fire tells us to follow our own passions and really burn bright, you know? That is, it sounds so cliche, and it's also just absolutely true. You know, it's burning bright, it's taking the lead, it's adventure, it's a fresh start as well. And I am getting that. We are right in the middle of discovering something new by way of taking the lead and moving away from what's been established. That can even be what's been established within ourselves, you know, what rules we followed that seemed to make sense at the time, and maybe they stopped. Maybe they stopped making sense, to quote the Talking Heads. Maybe they stopped making sense. So old ways of thinking are falling by the wayside. Old ways of being, old rules that were established. Again, it's not even that we're pushing against so much as that we are parting with things that that maybe we once either held in high regard or just took for granted as the only way it could be, you know? I think we're seeing that a lot of things can be done differently these days, and a lot of our life patterns can be lived differently these days. So that's going on. And then we also have Nine of Pentacles reversed. These are all layered on top of each other. This is a card that speaks to value. Pentacles are earth. They relate to the material realm, but so much more. You know, resources, what we value, self-possession. I feel like that's definitely a thing with this energy. It's contained, it's empowered, it's also visionary, you know? So we have this, and I do feel like there's a reason it's reversed. It's like we're learning to tune into what we're truly worth, as individuals on this earth plane. And I feel like the learning process is also what this reversal is speaking to. And it's so new, The fire speaks to the newness. It's like we've begun something. We are moving away from what's been established. We've begun something and we're still finding our worth. So all of these reversals indicate so much. I feel like there's so much that's just happened and there's so much that's in progress that we're really coming to own differently for ourselves. So that's a thing. And also, I'm getting a couple different things. Another theme is small victories. And I'm seeing that with 6 of Rods. Again, we have fire. And this is a card that speaks to triumph. Also just pride. Sometimes that can be a little bit too much swagger. But it doesn't read that way here. It just feels like, so it's sideways here. It's kind of jutting out of this reading. And the message I'm getting is small victories. So it may be that we're really working hard to kind of establish ourselves apart from the norm, apart from what was previously established. And there's just a lot of small triumphs along the way. It may be that they are harder to see. I do feel like it's so human to discount our accomplishments when they're not big ticket items, when they're not necessarily visible for everyone to see. There's a lot of little things that we accomplish each and every day that are small victories. And so I do feel like that's why this message is here. It's really funny that it's jutting out sideways. I feel like it's almost like it's a side note of a message. It's not the obvious victory, but again, these little victories are huge. So to really pay attention as we are initiating a process that's so big and maybe heavy, maybe cumbersome feeling, to really look for the little victories, because they are also there, and they are also they're also just nourishing and life-giving, always. And it makes so much sense that would be a part of this reading as well. And the flip side that I'm seeing too, and these are the words that I'm getting, are waiting game, So again, I feel as if everything that we've initiated for ourselves, everything that we're in the process of breaking away from, maybe it feels slow or labored or just super intense in such a way where we are kind of left waiting for things to improve or resolve, or waiting for the clouds to break and the sun to come out, or waiting for everything we've initiated to kind of move forward and maybe reach some sort of conclusion, But again, we're in the process of moving on, and I am seeing that with this energy with 9 of Rods. There is this feeling with this card. This is a soldier who's done battle. My understanding is he's ready to move on, And I know a different tarot reader also pointed this out. Gemma, Gemstone Tarot, that feeling of kind of guardedness. I mean, this is literally a wall. And isn't that so fitting that we would need to put a wall up in order to establish that we're on the other side of something? So I feel like that's really interesting. I just got that. That's what that's about, right? And so these are like this. So again, it makes so much sense that as we are kind of setting ourselves apart from something, and something big, I really, really feel that in my own life. Old systems that just feel like insurmountable in a way, or formidable, or daunting, or, just this is the way it's always been kind of a thing. Old things like that, when we set ourselves apart, it's huge, and it does feel just almost overwhelmingly huge, right? So So I feel as if we set ourselves apart, we are establishing something new, and we're waiting for what's next. I'm going to see if there isn't any other information that might be a nice way to close this reading, because this is big, it's heavy, it's a lot, and yeah, I just feel like it needs a little something extra. So let's see. Let's see if there's any. Okay. This flew out. Yeah. This is just speaking to everything I was just saying, you know? This is big, heavy energy, and it's ending energy. We're ending something, and it feels like a hell of a lot of hard work. And so maybe the best thing going forward, and I know I often throw this into my readings, is that we be as easy on ourselves as we can be, because all the stuff we're going through, it's a lot, you know? Learning to value ourselves, that's a lot. Learning to break away, that's a lot. Learning to establish new boundaries, that's a lot. Waiting, that's a lot, you know? And it may be that one of the ways in which we go easier on ourselves, I'm coming back to this theme of small victories, is just to really own everything that we've accomplished that much more fully. I think there's something, that much more fully. I think there's something really nourishing and really life-giving in that. And it is also the very thing it's so human to forget to do this. I forget all the time, and I'm way too hard on myself. And I feel like that's this energy too. It's when we burden ourselves, you know, I mean, part of it feels so necessary. And I think that this process that we're undergoing is so necessary. And also, we can weigh ourselves down in extra ways. We can weigh ourselves down that aren't so necessary. So to be as easy on ourselves as we can be, and to recognize everything good that we've accomplished for ourselves down to the smallest little detail, because those small victories, I really do feel like they add up, and they allow us a different perspective. They allow us to lighten our load. This reading is peppered with fire, and I think what that's telling me is that we have a lot of passion. We feel very strongly about everything we are going through, and we're ready to be exactly where we are. I think that's another thing to keep in mind. You know, we've initiated something. I feel like with this energy, fire is such a powerful initiator. So we've initiated something here. And again, we're passionate about that. I'm even getting that message. We're passionate about our boundaries. You know, we're passionate about better quality of life for ourselves. And I think that may be the thing that drives us forward as we undergo all of this. So good for us, you know, good for us that we jumped into this process. Good for us that we're learning to own our value differently. You know, I know Lee Harris has a whole thing. Lee Harris is an energy person that I really love, titled Own Your Value. And I feel that here we're learning to own our value, and good for us that we're learning to own that. Good for us that we are taking steps to be in a better place, you know, and have better quality of life. Just to recap really quickly, we're breaking away from a lot of old stuff. And that may look different to each and every one of us, but it's definitely heavier energy coming up. It's definitely painful things. It's old thought patterns that we're letting go of. It's embracing the new within ourselves. It's coming to see our value differently and more fully. So breaking away from old, establishing new, and having to wait it out in between, having to sit with the difficult stuff, having to sit with the endings of things, having to really trust that we can see ourselves through. And also the necessity of owning all of our victories in between, all of those small things that we may overlook or not even see as victories, even though they are, to really just own everything that we've accomplished for ourselves. There's just such a necessity right now in doing that. And again, to be as good to ourselves as we can be, that's also a necessity. And that's everything I'm learning as well. It's human to beat yourself up. And it's a process to learn to be better to yourself. And it's also just such a necessity to learn to be better to yourself. So I hope that this reading has been helpful. I know it was a heavier one. I hope that you're all doing okay, and I hope that you're all learning to go easier on yourselves. I hope that you are really claiming all of those small victories for yourselves and finding ways to lighten your load. And if you enjoyed this reading, please hit the like button. If you would like to see more of these and you haven't yet subscribed, I'd love to have you on board. Please hit the subscribe button. If you're interested in supporting this channel from a monetary standpoint, please check out my Patreon. The link is down below. And I will see you all again soon. Bye for now.